So over the last couple of years, you've seen a lot of people stir away from MMA media, and especially the big groups, MMA, ESPN, MMA, journalists. We all know how shit the press conferences are. We all know how shit the media is are. They ask the same questions. It's kind of the same shit. As you can see on screen here, Guru, Bedtime, Lucas Tracey. These are kind of the big three of the MMA world. And I kind of want to talk about what made these three the big three and why people are gravitating towards these lot compared to your everyday journalists, compared to, just anybody. Like these three seem to be the big dogs. So I'm gonna cover over Bedtime here. We're gonna start with the MMA guru. Probably the most notable figure in the game, probably the most, influential, probably the most controversial, definitely the most controversial figure that we will ever see, there we go, in the MMA world. But is probably the most popular person in the MMA industry, the most popular person in this scene as regards notoriety, and also just like when the fight's over, you're going to see what Guru has to say, especially when it's a certain type of fighter, if you know what I'm saying. The beard. You're going to see what he says. He has single handedly exposed John Jones for being, something other than a fighter, I think. I just can't remember what it was. I can't remember. He exposed me in the drama. He just seems to be like the MMA police. Like, just keep your fucking mouth shut and you're fine. But to be fair, I must say, Guru is the reason I actually started the channel. So I will only say good things about Guru, and I will never say. I agree with a lot of shit he says. I must say, I fuck with a lot of shit Guru says. I respect the shit that he's able to just say what he thinks. And if anybody gets offended, you're just fucking soy. And I just really, Guru's just like, to me, these three, Luke, I know bedtime's on, but this is a pretty fucking cool picture anyway for me just to see. But these three are just switched on. They've just got it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna talk more about it in my 1K video, but Guru being able to say what he thinks and really go at fighters when they need to is why people like him so much. He doesn't hold back. He's not scared to say what he thinks. He doesn't give a shit about being demonetized or anything like that. And I genuinely think that's why so many people just gravitate towards him, gravitate towards his opinion on matters. If there's a controversial thing in the MMA world, he will say it and he doesn't care. But the MMA journalists are the most stupid people on the planet. And I genuinely do believe that. I genuinely do believe MMA journalists are possibly the worst journalists in sports history. I think they have no fucking clue what to do. The OG is decent. The full send guy, he's pretty good. But your average MMA journalist just asks the most stupid questions, doesn't watch the sport, doesn't know anything about the sport, probably asks them how the fucking weather is. They just have no clue. Like, they have no clue what's going on and no one really cares about their opinion. But Guru makes it entertaining. He doesn't edit as well. Like, his editing is fucking wank. Like, he just sits there and talk, and that's how you know you have it. If you can just sit there and talk with no editing, that's how you know you have it. And I've been watching him for a long time, probably 3 years now. And I just remember watching him. I was like, "Fuck it, I'm just going to see if I can make this happen." I'm going to get out of the bedtime MMA soon as well. But Guru seems to be the leader of this charge. He seems to be leading it, and we'll move on to Lucas Tracey, Flukas Glazy, Big Meaty Hooks. He seems to be. These three have their own place. So Guru is kind of the controversial one. Lucas Tracey is more kind of the I want to see a risky prediction and more of just like a out of this world. No one's really kind of thinking a prediction in a lot of ways. He picked Benoit Saint Denis against Poirier. I picked Dustin Poirier to knock him out. I forever own that prediction. That's my prediction. No one will ever be able to tell me otherwise. Lucas Tracy brings like a massive entertainment aspect. He also brings like something I'm quite like passionate about, which is fitness into the scene. His real food cookbook and shit like that. Another guy I've been watching since the very beginning. I actually watched his first YouTube video like 2 hours after it was released. I can't fucking remember. I think it could have been Oliveira versus Gaethje. One of the I can't actually remember which one it was. Or it could have been Adesanya Whitaker. I think it was Adesanya versus Whitaker too. Was his first video, and that's the one I watched. I watched him on TikTok. I watched him loads. I can't fucking remember his first video, but anyway, I watched him on TikTok as well. When he went Mateus Gamrot being like, or Benil Dariush for being the backup for Oliveira versus Makachev, or some shit like that. And he's just really fucking funny. And I feel like these guys are just able to captivate the audience in a way that we just haven't seen before. No journalist is able to do this. There's a reason. There's a reason the MMA world go to these guys and not your fucking journalists. It's because the journalists don't give you the real shit. They don't give you what they really think. Look at Anthony Smith and Chael Sonnen going at Tom Aspinall on the ESPN thing. They don't. They just. The journalists are weak. They're just fucking weak, and no one cares about their opinion. They ask stupid questions. They don't ask the hard stuff. I do like Adam Catterall for TNT Sport. He's quite good. There's a few decent journalists. Just fucking shit. They don't ask real good questions. And Lucas Tracey, when he did the Volk interview, was incredible. I thought he asked, like, Lucas did the fucking, Volk interview. I thought he did class. I thought it was just like one of those things to where, like, you know, he was asking what it takes to be a champion, stuff like that. Real questions that I want to hear as someone who's trying to make it and become one of these guys. That's because that's the ultimate goal. What I do with this, but Lucas Tracey has a special place. We'll move over to Bedtime MMA. Not the talk of the town essentially, but Bedtime recently hit 100K, and it's funny. So I was actually looking at Bedtime's kind of like career, I guess you could say career, and he started the channel at the same time as me, which is like really interesting to think. I'm like, fuck, like this dude's got 100K, so it's definitely possible. And like these three just kind of like show me as well, someone who's trying to make it in this industry, that it is possible. I don't need to go through some bullshit ESPN, PG shit like that. It's you can just sit there and chat shit and people will listen. Bedtime does some of the best impressions. I won't lie, I was a little bit like on the fence for him for a while just because he liked Bilal Muhammad so much. But this dude is a fucking G at picking predictions, and he's quite quickly turned into one of my favorite MMA YouTubers, if I'm being honest with you. He's fucking so fucking funny. I don't really like the Weasel. I just don't really like the Weasel. Doesn't really say what he thinks. I just think he's a bit fucking yeah. But Bedtime in 100K, he's absolutely killing it. And these three have become the central pillars of YouTube. I'm covering Bedtime's face. I'm sorry, bro. These three have become the central pillars. I feel bad doing that. I'm going to move down here. These three have become the central pillars of the MMA industry. And imagine we see something like this one day, the image on screen. That's what I'm gonna work towards, and that's what this channel is trying to achieve, is trying to be in a position where I can get that level of not clout, but just like, audience, which would be fucking sick. But these three are absolute G's. I must say, as someone who's grown into the sport, these three have made it bearable the last year, because we were in a dark place as UFC fans with no fights being talked about. And these three actually made it. And a lot of people will say, oh, Glaze and stuff like that. Bro, these three are carrying. These three are carrying in so many different fucking ways. We should just appreciate it. And I'm so sick of the fucking journalists. That's why I'm making this video to say these three have actually said what MMA fans want to hear. They say what MMA fans say on the daily. They don't give a shit. They're not tied into any contracts with any, Dana White or anything like that. They're not trying to get in any bad side. The reason these three have, not just these three MMA chat, experts, Weasel, there's so many of them. The reason they are so popular, it's because they just ask real shit and they say it how it is. No one gives a fuck about ESPN's or Brett Okamoto's interviews nowadays. They're dead. They're fucking dead, and no one cares. Nobody cares to listen to them. No one cares how camp's going. No one cares, bro. Do you know what I mean? And the questions are just so dead. I used to love media days, but they're just fucking shit now. Like, how does it feel to be here? How is camp? How is the weight cut? Brett Okamoto was asking what kind of music you're listening to. I don't give a fuck, bro. I don't care. I want to hear about matchups. I want to hear, is there any beef? I want to know what's actually like going through a fighter's heads, and what preparation have they put in as regards over the years. What's the sacrifice you need to make to get here? Because that's something I'm fascinated about, is what it takes to get to the top of anything. It's something I've always been fascinated about. What kind of sacrifices are you pushing to young people to say, look, you need to do X, Y, and Z to get A, B, and C? Do you know what I mean? Or maybe it's the other way around. I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm trying to say? Hearing shit like that, not hearing what kind of music they're listening to, is what I'm after. But it just seems that these lot are just, yeah, they're funny characters. They're funny characters. And hopefully one day the MMA preacher will be up there. But like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.